Hello, my name is Richard Voremiuk and I am the director of Beyond Marathon and also the race director of the Millennium Way. Hopefully by now you will have received this, which is the participant guide, and in here you'll find all the information you need to participate in the event. I'm going to take you through a little bit of the route, but first of all let's have a quick flick through what you can expect to see in this booklet. Very important you do read all this. Got all the information you need regards arriving, parking, registration, all of the things that we recommend that you should bring with you. It's got the schedule in here, the start location and finish location, which is obviously the same from a coach perspective, but some of you may wish to meet us at the start line, which is in Newport. If you do wish to do that, please follow the instructions in the guide so we can ensure that your route number is brought to the right place. Also inside here you'll find some information on GPX files if you're interested in those, some information about the terrain. Tracking, quite a lot of you took advantage of the participant tracking, so you could share your location with your friends and family last year. So how to register for race drone tracking is in there, or you can also hire a little tracker as well. Our paramedics, once again, are the Ultramedics team, so they're very welcome once again, and they're our suppliers of medical support for all our events in 2016. Beyond that, the most important thing for you to look at is the navigation tips and for you to print out the route description. You will be expected to supply your own maps, but for the most part you will be able to find your way simply by following the route description and also the waymarks for the Millennium Way. By the waymarks I mean these little circles that you'll find all over the course. So very important that you print this out and follow it, and should you do that you will probably not set a foot wrong all day. And that's really it as far as the book is concerned. What I'm going to do now is take you through a little bit about the course. Actually, before I do that, I talked about GPS. Let me just mention that there is, let's find the right one. There is a, here we go, there is a Garmin Connect file which I've created, the link of which is in the guidebook. If you've got a Garmin device, you can load this route onto your Garmin and obviously follow it as well. Okay, let's go over and take a little bit of a look at the route itself. So here's the route in its entirety. It's a linear event, obviously. You are going to be registering in Burton-upon-Trent at Shobnall Leisure Complex, which is right here. And this is the building you're actually going to be in. There is plenty of car parking all around here and off all around the side as well, so lots of places to park here and here. The gates do not open. There's a barrier across here. The gates do not open very early, so don't turn up at 6 o'clock because no one's going to be there to greet you. We're going to be taking registrations in a pretty quick fashion from 6:30. You'll more or less be handed your race number, your wristband, and you'll be hopping straight on the coach, and the coaches will be leaving from this car park right here. There are some toilets here too. Please use those. We do not know if the toilets at the start of the route will have been opened by the council. We ask them, they generally promise that they do. Not always does that happen, so please use the loos here before hopping on the coach. If you do wish to meet us at the start, please follow, as I mentioned, the instructions in the guide which tell you what you need to do in order to make arrangement to meet us at the start and to make sure that your race number is there. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom out a little bit and backtrack on the route all the way to the start. This year, the start is in Newport. Previously, the event started a few miles outside of Newport in the village outwards. So this year you're getting 3 miles for free, and the main reason for that is that cycle path 55 now starts here and has been extended right the way through, so it's a really nice cycle path right the way through to Stafford. So this year we are making life a little easier for everyone, so rather than having a little bit of a walk from the road down to the start here, which was on the bridge, instead we're all going to be starting in the car park on Audley Road in Newport. For those who know the area, here is the Waitrose, and there's Waitrose's car park, and here is the kind of city centre car park here, and there are also some public toilets here in the corner as well, and we're hoping that those will be open. So soon after the start, you'll be turning right and following Audley Road down and turning right at the T-junction. Then very soon after, you'll be turning left onto what is actually Audley Avenue. You'll follow that right the way down along here. There's some little barriers which cars cannot pass between, so that's a bit of a gotcha for any supporters. Supporters, please don't follow the runners on this route out, because you cannot get past an area here which is blocked off. You do have to go right the way around this way. But runners, you can go straight down here. You'll follow this as it bends round until you meet the A518, where you will very, very briefly, for about 150 metres, turn left. Please stay on the grass verge here, and then you're going to turn left for 80 metres or 100 metres or something like that on the A41. This road is very, very busy pretty much at all times of day, so please cross this with care. Stay tight into the verge before joining the cycle path, which, as you can see, very roughly follows this line I've drawn here. Now the good news is the first 11.5 miles from here right the way to checkpoint 1 are mostly, other than this first mile or so, they're using the cycle path, which is great terrain. Obviously it's very flat, the whole course is flat, and it usually is is good underfoot. There's a very small section which might have a little bit of water on it near to Stafford, but usually it's pretty good. So you're going to head straight out and follow this now for the next about the next 10 miles right the way through. You go through a couple of villages, Nosal, which is here, and Horton a little bit further along. There are a few road crossings, so do take care that although you're on the cycle path, you will have to cross the road back onto the cycle path and do the same again in a couple of locations. So once you've then gone through the outskirts of Horton, you'll make your way into the outskirts of Stafford itself. So this is Stafford here. If I zoom in, so the abandoned railway line effectively ends at this point here, and you emerge at a car park here, which is the Castletown car park, where we will have our checkpoint set up. So there'll be a few cars and some tables and probably half a dozen or so volunteers who are all going to be there helping to hand out food. In terms of what will be handed out at checkpoints, we tend to stick to high energy snack food. That might be biscuits, cake, crisps, flapjack, jelly sweets. We'll also have some water, some juice, and Pepsi as well. There's usually a few other little treats and things on there as well, but generally speaking, it's high energy snack food. If that's not the type of food that you enjoy, or that's something that you may be allergic to, please ensure that you have your own supply of food to satisfy whatever nutritional requirements or allergies that you have. Okay, so also at those checkpoints, you're going to be getting your wristband scanned. We're going to give you electronic timing wristband. Do make sure you have that on show and not buried under 3 layers of clothes and a buff or something along those lines. So have that ready to scan at the first checkpoint. And now I'll take you through a little bit more of the route. I'm not going to go through it all in blow-by-blow detail, but there are some areas worth paying attention to. First is very soon after the first checkpoint, and that is you go over this first roundabout, and just before you go to the second roundabout, the cycle path 55 route turns left here and takes you through this little bit of greenery here. You emerge back around by some industrial estates. You go over the railway bridge, and you'll come out, and you need to join the path here. Technically, you can turn right here if you wish, and you can cut through there as well. We don't really mind which way you want to use. The route description will actually follow the official route round here, but if you're local and you happen to know, you can save yourself about 30-40 seconds by cutting that route off there. And this will take you alongside the river and into Stafford Town Centre. Once in Stafford Town Centre, you come into this little park here. You'll cross over the bridge, over the river, alongside the bowling green, and then you will emerge into the middle of Stafford Town Centre. Now, if I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. Usually, the path that the mouse is following there is the path of the river, and that is the route. However, for the last 18 months, there's a footpath diversion been in place, so that remains in force. So we're going to be using that to show you where that is. I wonder if I can zoom right the way into street level. Let's see if it works here. If I zoom right the way in, I think it might flip into street level. It does. Okay, so you will have come from this direction here alongside, I think it's called the mailbox or the post box, this restaurant, and you'll come opposite two banks. There's a Nationwide and there's also an RBS. So, or TS, it might be a TSB now, I forget. But anyway, the Nationwide is certainly still there. You're going to be going on straight on at this point. So this is actually a crossroads of Stafford Town Centre. Usually the route goes along the river there. We're not taking that way. You're going straight across, and you're going to be following that right the way. If I zoom back out, let's see if I can figure out how to do it. Okay, so let me zoom back out there. Okay, let me zoom out and also put it back to facing north. Right. Okay, so there we are at that crossroads. You're going to go straight through, and you're going to go right the way along the end of the road, and this is the ring road that goes around around Stafford, and here is a Sainsbury's supermarket, and you're going to go past that, and then shortly after there's a right turn to a petrol station, which ultimately will lead you back and enable you to get back onto the river. You can also go right the way along there and get on at that point as well. Just a word of warning that this section can actually be quite mucky and muddy underfoot, so beware at this point in time. There's one guy lost his shoe and never retrieved it, and he limped his way to Stafford train station and caught the train back to Burton. He did take it all in good spirit though, so don't worry too much, but try and keep your shoes on as you go through here. You will then what you're doing is joining the canal actually at this point in time. There's a couple of ways onto the canal. The route description does describe it well. You can either go straight across there, or you can go onto there, and then you're on the canal for quite a long time. So I'm not going to go into any detail around that. You're going to go right the way along here past the lovely Shugborough Stately Hall estate, and stay on the alongside the towpath until you reach the checkpoint at Wolseley Bridge, where there'll be some more volunteers on hand there to look after you. About 2.5 kilometres after Wolseley Bridge is the next bit of a gotcha, and that is the point after Bridge 68, where you need to change sides of the canal to avoid heading into this estate. You just need to make sure you have crossed over, you're on the right side of the canal, and you'll then continue to stay on this route, and you'll run right the way through Rugeley until you get to this point here, which is let me zoom in a little bit more and see if we can see it. Yeah, okay, so just here, it's not very easy to see on there, but basically after you've gone past Bridge 66, all of this is described in your route description, you are going to leave the canal for the next 9 miles, and you're then going to have 9 miles worth of farmland, and that farmland section is basically from here right the way through checkpoint 3 until you get to there. So all this is farmland, and there are certain parts of this farmland that may be wet, may be muddy. We obviously have had a lot of rain, a lot of flooding, and there is still potential for parts of this to be very, very wet and muddy. We only recommend trail shoes, though you could get away with road shoes for the first 10 miles. After that, you would be very sorry if you were wearing road shoes, because they do not have enough grip to take you through some of these other parts of the course, so progress would be very slow. So after you have come off the canal once and for all, you're going to be very carefully following your route description. We've added more way markers on through this section, so there are little bits of road interspersed, but for the most part you're going over fields, and you'll head along to one of the well-known landmarks of this course. Those of you who've done this before, it'll bring a smile to your face, and that is the little farm here at Pipe Ridware, and just round the back of this church, what looks like a church, it's actually a theatre now, is a donkey, and so you'll know you're in the right location. You have to come along this road, and just behind this bush, sometimes the footpath sign is a little bit hidden. You have to creep round the back of there and head over a little wall, and then you scoot out to the right a little bit to a big stone wall here, and Dave the donkey is usually tethered in here. I do hope he's still alive this year. He does make me smile every time I see him each year, so give the old fella a little wave as you go past, and then the best thing to do is hop over that stone wall and fairly sharply just turn inwards and probably follow this all the way up. It can be a little bit mucky around this area, but you know what, it's a lot of fields are like that. Continue along all through this farmland section. You will go through another particularly muddy area called Netherbank Farm, which is quite prone to a little bit of mud. That said, in another 4 weeks' time it might be dry and wonderful and there's no issues at all, but I'm just basing it on current conditions, which is a little bit wet underfoot right now. Not long after, you're going to arrive at checkpoint 3, which is on the outskirts of Yoxall. There's one little bit of a gotcha just before Yoxall. You come off the path, join the road very briefly. It's quite tempting to stay on this road right all the way into Yoxall, but if you do that, you would miss this checkpoint here. So do keep your eyes open on the approach to Yoxall that you head in, and this is the playing fields. There's some swings and things like that, Ferris Field as it's known locally, and you'll find a little checkpoint here tucked away in the corner of the field or just on the grass. After the checkpoint, you will make your way down through to the main road that comes through Yoxall, the A515, do a quick left then right, and very soon afterwards you turn right again. I seem to recall it's by one of these little black and white houses, one of the kind of Tudor type looking houses if I remember rightly, and you'll head down this and very shortly you'll end up back on the fields. One or two fields, these two particularly I can recall being quite wet, so do keep an eye out for those, and then you'll be continuing along following the main path, and you will eventually make your way down and alongside here. Let me find you the next key place to find, and that is actually this location here. So you'll come into a country park and golf club. It's Witchner Park. And once you're in there, do very carefully follow the route description, which takes you around the outside of the greens here. The one bit to look out for is you run down a little bank, and at this point in time, the first time I recorded it, I actually missed this left turn and sailed off straight ahead here, and you hit a stream, as you can just about see it there, and you think, wow, you know, it's a bit of a wide stream to be crossing. You obviously you don't cross it. If you hit a bit of water, I'm not sending you. If you hit a river or a little stream, we're not sending you through any of those, not by choice anyway, unless any of the fields have turned into them. You do run down this little hill, take a left and follow the main path round, and get back on track. And then you'll follow a few more fields round, and you will join another river here, very, very briefly for about a mile or so, and here at Witchnor Bridges you will get on the canal and then enjoy the last 5 or 6 miles right the way back until you get to the finish. Now obviously the important thing to do is once you do get to Burton-on-Trent, make sure you do get off the canal at the right place, because otherwise, you know, you're going to end up in the wrong town or city. So get off at the right spot and make your way back along the drive and through to us at the finish. And at the finish we will usually provide you with a little bit of refreshment, so there'll be some tea and coffee, some cake and biscuits, and usually something savoury like a cheese and onion pasty or a Cornish pasty or something along those lines. Just something light to get you feeling human again. We will also give you your finisher's certificate as well, and look forward to seeing you at one of our future events. And in terms of other events that we're running later this year, here's a collection of them. A lot of these events are actually already full. I think the Apocalypse is already full, Gritstone Grind is already full, Offers Dyke is already full, obviously Millennium Way, which you're doing, is already full as well. So I think we're just left with Dust Till Dawn and 12 Labours of Hercules, which have still got a few places, but doubtless they won't last long too. Do remember to look in your guide to have a look about Race Drone. Race Drone is the tracking system, and you'll register for an event on this website, and on the day of the event all the competitors will appear on a list down here, and lots of little flags will make their way running across the course. So it's very useful, and it's great for people at home as well as support crews to find out where they can meet you on the course. I mean, let's see if I can see if I think there's an event in progress today, if I remember rightly. Yeah, there's a summit team doing Kilimanjaro, so there's only one flag on this, but you'll get the idea of what you would see. There's a little route, and there you go. Here's the summit team and the time of day. If I click on them, tells me the speed they're going at, 1 mile an hour. Given they're climbing Kilimanjaro, I think we can let them off for that. But there you go. That's the idea. But usually there'd be 100 people on this list and lots of little flags going around. So it's a useful little tool. Okay, I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, then please join the Beyond Marathon community page, not the main page. If you join the community page on Facebook, you can ask lots of questions. We had quite a lot of engagement last year, lots of people chatting about the race, giving away tips and things like that, so it's a good place to come and listen and ask questions. Other than that, we look forward to seeing you bright and early on the 6th of March. Take care, we'll see you then, bye bye.